My name is Evelyn Carter. I am 29 years old. I was born in a quiet town nestled between rolling hills and vast green fields. I am the eldest daughter in my family, raised with love, discipline, and the dream of becoming a doctor. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to heal people, to be the one they turned to in their weakest moments, and to give them hope when they had none. 3 years ago, when I was 26, I had just begun my career as a doctor at St. Grace Hospital. It was an overwhelming yet fulfilling journey, filled with countless patients, sleepless nights, and endless emotions. But among the many faces I saw every day, there was one patient who would change my life forever. His name was Adrian Blake. He was 27, just a year older than me, but when I first met him, he looked much older. His face was pale, his body weak, and his eyes carried the weight of pain I could not yet understand. I was assigned as his doctor, and for the next 2 weeks, he became my responsibility. I remember the way he barely spoke at first, how his tired eyes followed me around the room as I checked his vitals, changed his medication, and ensured he was comfortable. Every morning, I would walk into his room with a clipboard in my hand, maintaining the professionalism I had been trained to uphold. "Good morning, Mr. Blake. How are you feeling today?" I would ask with a polite smile. He would offer a weak smirk, his voice raspy. "A little better, Dr. Carter. Thanks to you." But it wasn't just medical care that bonded us. It was the conversations we shared in between the treatments. I learned that he had been an artist, that he once painted vibrant portraits, full of life, but had lost his inspiration due to his illness. He spoke of his mother's cooking, of the books he loved, and the places he had dreamed of visiting. Somewhere along the way, my role as his doctor blurred into something more. I found myself lingering a little longer by his bedside, listening to him, watching the light return to his eyes as he spoke. And he started to look at me differently. His glances lasted a second longer. His smile grew warmer, and the walls he had built around himself began to crumble. After 2 weeks, his condition improved, and I had to discharge him. "You need to rest at home, Adrian. But I want you to come back for checkups every week. We need to keep an eye on you." He nodded, but as he stood at the hospital doors, ready to leave, there was an unspoken hesitation between us. "I guess I'll see you next week, then, Dr. Carter." The weeks passed, and with every visit, our bond deepened. We started calling each other outside of our hospital meetings. At first, they were simple check-ins, me ensuring he was following my instructions, and him teasing me about being overly worried. But soon, they became something more. We talked about life, our dreams, our fears. I found myself looking forward to his calls, to the sound of his voice, at the end of a long day. And then it happened. I fell in love with him. Slowly, unexpectedly, yet so deeply that it terrified me. I had seen love before, in my parents, in the books I read, but never like this. This was different. This was raw and overwhelming. Every time I saw him, my heart ached with a longing I couldn't explain. But I was afraid. Afraid of what it would mean for my career. Afraid of how he would react. Afraid that if I confessed, it would ruin everything we had built. So, I hid it. I buried my feelings beneath my white coat, behind my professional smiles. But love has a way of revealing itself, no matter how much you try to suppress it. And Adrian saw through me. One evening, as we sat by the hospital garden, after his checkup, he looked at me, his expression serious. "Evelyn, why do you always hold back?" My breath hitched. "What do you mean?" He sighed, shaking his head. "You care about me, more than just as a doctor. I see it in your eyes, in the way you talk to me, in the way you worry. So why are you hiding it?" Tears burned behind my eyes. I had spent so long pretending, but in that moment, I couldn't anymore. "Because I'm scared, Adrian. I don't know how to love you without risking everything." He reached for my hand, his touch warm, reassuring. "Then don't be scared, because I love you too. And no rule, no fear, no circumstance is strong enough to change that." And in that moment, for the first time in years, I let go of the fear. I let love in. Our love wasn't easy. It was built on struggles, on stolen moments, between hospital walls, on whispered confessions, and unwavering trust. But it was real, and that was all that mattered. Because sometimes, love finds you when you least expect it. And when it does, you can either run from it, or you can hold on to it, with everything you have. Our love wasn't easy. It was built on struggles, on stolen moments between hospital walls, on whispered confessions and unwavering trust. But it was real, and that was all that mattered. Because sometimes love finds you when you least expect it, and when it does, you can either run from it, or you can hold on to it with everything you have.